What's up, folks? Just wanted to put together a little video here. We've been having a discussion around our family for the past couple months around New Year's resolutions, and we've talked a lot about the continuum of resolutions, disciplines, and habits. And the idea is that when we make resolutions, very rarely do we stick to them, and when in reality what we should be doing is resolving to change our person. And we're known by our habits. Our life habits define who we are. Our disciplines define who we want to be and what we want to give our lives to, and our resolutions define what we want to be, our aspirations, our wishes. And so often I hear people say, "Oh, I don't do resolutions because I never stick to them. They never work." Or I do resolutions and they last about 2 weeks, or statistics say resolutions only last 2 days, or whatever. All the comments that continue to flow about New Year's resolutions. And so I just wanted to share with you a couple of things that we've talked about, and one of those being, if you have resolved to do something or be something and it only lasts 2 weeks, it's likely that you didn't resolve in your heart to do or be whatever it was that you aspired after. Likely because you didn't connect them to disciplines, and they didn't become habits in your life. And so some of the conversation that we've had that I wanted to share with you is January 3rd. I don't necessarily like the idea that we got to start on January 1st, and if we don't make it all, we've failed and it's never going to work. But rather utilize this season of life. It's right after the holiday seasons, Christmas and New Year's, and it's just a good opportunity to evaluate where we are in life, what we've done for the past year, what we want to do for the coming year. And I just want to take an opportunity to share some of the thoughts that we've had, and encourage you to utilize this fresh chapter as a chance to start. One aspect we talked about in making resolutions or goals, so you can use those terms synonymously if you want to, is making resolutions in 4 areas: mental, physical, spiritual, and social. The 4 things that make up our human being. And oftentimes we focus around the new year on physical goals. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to run a marathon. But there's so much more to life than our physical bodies. The things that we often need to develop in that will affect us long term are the areas of mental and spiritual and social, and we leave those out in this valuable season of life. Another thing that may be taken into consideration is the depth of resolutions as it relates to you as an individual. When you make your resolution, you're obviously doing it for you, but maybe 3 other areas that you could take into consideration are your family, your immediate community, and your involvement in the global scheme of things. So maybe take into consideration individual resolutions, family resolutions, community resolutions, and global, because your life impacts all of those. A couple other points that people have brought out in our discussion is goals need to be specific, not just some broad statement. I want to be healthier, but they need to have a point to them. They need to be specific. They need to be challenging. They need to challenge you, not something that you're already doing, but rather something that's going to take you to the next level. So while they're challenging, they need to be also realistic. You need to be able to achieve them so you can experience success. When you set your resolution in terms of being specific, they also need to be measurable and accessible. Measurable as in, like, it's something that you do on a frequent basis, like you want to read 4 times a week. Well, the number 4 is your measuring device. You did it or you did not do it 4 times a week. your assessment would be the quality, would be measuring the quality of your work. Did I focus when I was reading? Did I internalize what I was reading? Did I apply what I was reading? So the 5 things being resolutions should be specific, challenging, realistic, measurable, and accessible. So as you're thinking about your resolutions, you might consider those things. Also, things that it's going to take to fulfill your resolutions is time. It's just going to take time out of your schedule. You're going to have to replace something with something else because every minute of your day is taken up with something, whether it's eating or sleeping or surfing Facebook or watching TV or what have you. Every minute of your day is taken up with something, so you're going to have to replace something in your life with something else. In order to be successful, you're going to have to be consistent. There's going to have to be some frequency and consistency around your resolution to where it's not like a once-a-month thing, but more a weekly or bi-weekly at best, or daily, what have you. It's going to have your resolution is going to have to become a priority, and that can be one of the hardest things to do, is to choose what becomes in front of something else. And then accountability is a huge thing to making your resolutions a reality. And then the last thing is what happens whenever our resolutions fail, whenever we don't keep what we have resolved to do. And my brother shared this with me. Jonathan Edwards made some resolutions back in the 1700s, 70 of them to be exact. And his third resolution was, and he says, got it right here, he resolved that if ever, really whenever, I fail and fall and or grow weary and dull, whenever I begin to neglect the keeping of any part of these resolutions, I will repent of everything I can remember that I have violated or neglected as soon as I come to my senses again. And so, a lot of times we fall short of what we have resolved to do. We get discouraged, and we're just like, oh, I'm just never going to try that again. I tried that before, I've never tried it. And in reality, what we're doing is cutting ourselves short an opportunity to develop further. So just want to encourage everyone, all of you, my friends and family, to take this season of life to resolve in your heart to be a better you and to continue to develop. And when those times come about, then when you will fail, to resolve to pick yourself back up and continue the cycle over again, and come back to what you resolved in your heart, the person that you want to become. So hope this is helpful, hope this is encouraging, and look forward to some discussion around these ideas with a handful of you. Till next time.